What's up? What's going on, everybody? Right now, you just got me. Robyn's on her way home. My parents are in town, and they went out for dinner. I stuck back here on the homestead because I wanted to finish up. We got about a 7-minute movie flick kind of thing for you guys tonight. We are celebrating Blaze's 20th birthday, and that's what the little 7-minute flick is about. We got, basically it's just a bunch of pictures to some music, but get your tissues ready. I think I did a pretty good job. If it turns out okay when I loaded it up into this thing. What's up? Keto Country Homestead, Duncan, 1900. Making America Great Again, Mama Preparedness, Incense Shops, Debbie Jackson, John, Duncan, 1900. Homestead in the Highlands. Vienna Troll Slayer. Kitty, what's up, Kitty? Where you been? Tanya's in the house. Vina. Debbie Jackson. I think Spicy White Bear. Neona. Thornhill. Suburban. So what's up, everybody? So everybody, go tell your friends. Go tell your neighbors. Hey, Big Bear Homestead is live right now. All right, Kitty's been planting stuff and clearing and stuff. All right, Kitty, way to go. Mama Bear Preparedness says she binged some of our videos today. Awesome, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You ready for my pup? What's up, G-Trapper? What's going on? So, waiting on Robyn. Mama grows, mama grows, mama grows. Homestead in Highland said, woo, she goes to tell her neighbors. We'll be done by the time she gets back. One Lost Dude, what's up? So, I'm going to share with you some of my Blaze stories while we are waiting on my bride, who just texted. Let's see what she said. Okay, I can't repeat that. Hold on a second now there. Yahoo, put this on Do Not Disturb. Mama will be out shortly. Yeah, I'm pumped. I don't know why, but I am. Okay, so one of my Blaze stories. When Blaze, the very first time I met Blaze, I knew this boy was different. I knew he was going to be a challenge. I knew he was intelligent. And I knew he was spoiled. When Robyn and I got to the point where our friendship developed into a romantic relationship, she waited a little bit longer to introduce me to the Blaze. And the first time she introduced me to him, she brought him to my trailer that I was living in at the time. And I made them dinner. I cooked wild boar, pork chops. That my roommate and I, we went down the river just like 2 weeks before, and we shot the big big pig. And so sat down and we were eating, and the boy was tearing it up, y'all. He couldn't get enough of this food, and it was like I brought well, I did, but it was like I brought a whole new world into this kid's universe, and he didn't know how to handle it. And hey, mommy.
Hi, baby. Uh-oh. I don't know what I just broke.
It was the tape. Something. And Robyn goes, I know this is not steak. What is it? And the moment I said, well, it's wild pig, this goober goes up in his chair and acts like he's going to throw up. He does it. His whole dramatic thing. Mm-hmm. And Robyn looks at him and says, sit down and knock it off. Mm-hmm. He did just like that.
Thank you. Is that David or his wife?
And then I took him fishing. And I was in a realm that I did not know. Mm-hmm. Because he came across a dragonfly and flipped
out. But you have to imagine, this is a kid that was never exposed to any of that.
Is anybody else home?
Your parents are, yeah.
Okay, because he needs to be taken inside because he's going crazy. How old was he? He was 6.
When we met, he was 5, but he turned 6 shortly thereafter.
Yeah. He was 5 when Robyn and I met. When I finally got to meet him, it was shortly after his 6th birthday.
Yeah, he was like right at 6.
Yeah.
Can you move over a little bit so I can get out of the sunlight? There we go.
There we go.
Because I look like I was getting whitewashed.
And so, needless to say, almost 15 years later, we're 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And, well, Robyn is here. So, Robyn has not seen this video that I made. Now, I don't know about the volume with the music. Okay, I got bombarded with a bunch of pictures, and I was trying to put it all in semi-order, and I was putting music to it. And we all know when you use the music that comes from YouTube, they come in different volumes. And I was running out of time. So I really didn't have the time to go and check the volume.
So if it's loud, just turn it down.
If it's loud, I apologize. Turn down your volume. I'm not trying to play mean, evil tricks on everybody like how I always do when I scream and holler. I'm being 100% honest with you guys. I don't know how loud it is. I'm going to wait for somebody to come get the dog. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this little video. It's about 7 minutes long. But it's going to basically be...
Okay, I got snot rags.
It's going to be the life of Blaze in about 7 minutes of pictures.
7 minutes? Wow, I gave you a lot of pictures.
Yeah, you bombarded me with about 30, 40 pictures. Now, there was a lot of pictures in there that I was like, I don't know if I should include this one or what, but
I don't know why nobody's answering us.
It's very easy to fix.
I texted him, but he didn't answer
me. I'm so done with texting.
I know.
come get the dog. Your mom texted you like 4 times. Thank you. So, all right. As soon as the dog leaves, we'll start the video.
How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody doing okay?
So, here he comes to save the day. Thank you, sir.
It is unketo. It's birthday day. We unketo it today.
Okay. Now, again, hopefully this starts in the beginning from where I loaded it up. And hopefully you guys, everything will be good to go. So here we go. The Life of Blaze. There it is. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun to make. And lot of memories with that punk. No. He's a good kid. He turned out good. And come September, if everything goes right, he will be leaving to start his own life with the Georgia State Patrol.
Got our fingers crossed.
And you got mixed feelings with it.
Yeah. I mean, you never...
Do.
You do too.
Mm-mm.
Whatever.
Nope. I'm proud of him.
No, and I think the thing is that... So, I think we've been talking about this back and forth. Because one of the things with his... when he goes to, like, their boot camp is after so many months or couple, 6-8 weeks, whatever, he's allowed to come home on the weekends. And Jason is a lot stronger than me, so Jason said, look, you might be mad at me, your mom might be mad at me, but I don't care. Unless it's a holiday, don't come home for the weekend. And I'm sure at first Blaze was probably kind of like, well, to heck with you too, But the thing is, it's a good opportunity for us to get used to him not being here.
It's not about that.
It is for me.
No, for you, maybe.
It is for me. And it'll be good for me to have him still somewhat close, but for me to adjust to him not being here for a longer period of time than, because the first week that he was gone on jail school, it was hard for me. Second week, it got easier. So this is kind of going to be the same thing, is that once he's gone for those weeks, if he starts coming back every weekend, that'll throw off me being used to him being gone for 5 or 6 weeks. So,
well, the reasons why I told him not to come home was because...
And I had other ones, but go ahead.
Because... Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Mm-mm.
It was because, one, if he needs to crack the books, study,
right,
run the obstacle course on his own, or any other challenges he may have at boot camp, that would be the time for him to do it.
Right.
Or,
and there's no distraction.
Right, and there's no distractions.
Right.
Plus, he is entering a world where all of the people that are going through that boot camp with him, they're going to develop a very unique and tight camaraderie.
Right.
So, if they're all going to go out
right
to the Tilted Kilt or to Hooters
whatever
or whatever and talk about what happened that week during boot camp, or just to go out to blow off some steam,
mm-hmm,
he doesn't need to have his Achilles heel cut. I gotta go home, go see my mom. No, he needs to be able to go out, cut loose, burn off that stress, that steam, also with no worries about what's going on here, and focus on what he's got to do, because the stuff that he will be learning could be the difference between life and death.
Now, and my other thing, he already does his own washing, so he knows how to do all that. My other thing, there was another bit to that, and I know most of us go through this, is when we're first out on our own, especially like with us, we're such a tight-knit family, we're always together. So when he goes out and he starts living by himself, essentially, I want him to get comfortable being alone, being by himself, and not feel like he immediately needs to jump into a relationship or something like that.
Did you not see some of those pictures?
Yeah.
That boy's comfortable to going to restaurants.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about he's sitting at home for 4 or 5 hours and there's nobody there.
Oh.
He's got to be used to being comfortable with being alone.
He'll just go to the tilted kilt.
Right, but what I'm concerned about is that he's taking the tilted kilt back to his apartment, and then
that ain't none of your business. That ain't none of your business.
It is my business.
How is it your
business? If he gets into a relationship too quickly because he doesn't want to be alone. Who does that sound like?
Not me.
Your first marriage?
Nope.
Whatever. Anyway,
ain't none of your
again,
business.
you're learning from previous mistakes, and we're the type of parents that want our children to learn from our mistakes, at least know that they're a possibility. And so that's one of the ones I'm concerned about, is that I wanted to make sure that he is okay with being by himself, to where he doesn't feel like he has to have somebody around him all the time. Now, he has already mentioned that basically as soon as he has his own apartment, he's probably going to have a puppy or a dog of some sort. So that's part of why I'm concerned but not concerned, because I'm pretty sure he recognizes he's going to be alone and he's going to want to have some kind of company, but I don't think he wants it to be of the female persuasion right away. So hopefully he's already learned that from us, but anyway, so that's my only thing. Yeah, that's what I think he'll probably end up getting a dog. But that's another one of my concerns, or not concerns. It's a reason why I'm saying that I really want him to stay there on the weekends, because it's kind of a controlled environment enough to where he doesn't have somebody moving in with him while he's at boot camp, because he can't have that. So he may have a relationship and that's fine, but as far as feeling like he has to,
it's not gonna happen.
What? While he's in school?
You were worried about stuff that's just not gonna happen.
Okay.
Because
watch this in about 2 years.
No, because you and look, you went to college, so you don't really understand how some of this works and happens. He's gonna develop a friendship and a kinship with a bunch of those guys that are in the boot camp with him.
I hope so.
And he's probably if him and another one of them both of them get sent to Atlanta, then more than likely they're gonna room up. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to be alone, because the guys at his station, they're all probably going to go out, shoot hoops, shoot pool, drink beer, all that kind of stuff together. And they're going to watch each other six. And so,
hopefully.
There ain't no hopefully about that one. They're going to watch each other six.
No, I was talking about the other stuff.
Oh. So...
yeah, I don't want to hear the words grandma that early on.
Nah,
I'm not worried about that. So that's not what I think you're missing what I'm saying. I'm not talking about him having kids or, all that other stuff. What I'm talking about, I understand he's going to have, friends and things like that. I just don't want him to feel like he has to have a girlfriend or whatever just so that he's not alone. That's all. I've seen it happen, y'all. So I mean, it's just one of those things.
I understand what you're saying, and yes, it does happen to some people, but I don't. Now, if you were more worried about him being like the old WWE superstar, The Godfather, with his the train, the hoe train.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. I've already reserved to that he's. I mean, you saw the pictures. Except for that one picture with Hooters with that blonde flippy thing. I don't know what he was thinking then, but like 2 years ago when we took him to Hooters for his birthday,
when he had that
blonde flippy hair thing going on. But other than that, I mean, even then, you saw he had beautiful women on his shoulders, so, or on his elbows. So it's just one of those things that, like, I know he's going to be surrounded by beautiful women. I am not, that's...
You have to...
I know that's coming.
You have to... When we were having a bunch of trouble with Blaze's behavior when he was 15 through 17.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mama.
I called my dad a lot. Mm-hmm. One, to apologize for my behavior.
It was the funniest because you'd go out, walk out to your truck, and you'd be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm sorry." And Dad be like, "What did you do, man?" "Just apologizing for all the hell I put you through."
But my dad, again, released some of his ultimate wisdom that man has, which when I was Blaze's age, I thought he was dumb as a box of rocks.
Right.
But he told me one thing, and this is something that you have to grab a hold of this like Apollo does a bone, mm-hmm. or Apollo does a pork chop. We raised him correctly.
I know.
We taught him right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We taught him about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We let him see some of our failures and our struggles and how we didn't quit, mm-hmm. and how we kept going and we came out on the other side. We have to hold on to what we taught him and fall back on it and go and let go, mm-hmm. and go. We put all these shiny, bright, wonderful tools in your toolbox. Mm-hmm. Now, I cannot make you reach into that toolbox and use that tool. Mm-hmm. Just like he's learned since the accident, his consequences are his own. Mm-hmm. There's not much really you and I can do or mm-hmm. say anymore.
Right.
And we just have to fall back on the fact that we fulfilled everything that we were supposed to do as parents. Mm-hmm. May have not got there the best way, but we got there.
Well, and we're already seeing that even in the situation of his job, mm-hmm. because some of the things that he has been able to do, he wouldn't have been able to do had we had not raised him, the way that we believed was the right way to mm-hmm. raise him. So, he's had some pretty challenging, situations at work, and he does fall back on it's because it's almost instinct, because we've done such a good job of teaching him. Some of the things that we've taught him have definitely, you can see they've stuck, because just the way that he, the way he behaves and the way that he carries himself and that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to see that he's starting to register that stuff that we did, maybe then he was ticked off and resentful and all of that stuff. But I think now he's starting to see, and it's really nice to see now when you come down on him and get, give him a hard time about something, you'll say, okay, I told you I was going to help you with your job. This is the reason I'm fussing at you right now. You are going to have this when you go to your job, and so he's starting to understand that a little bit more as well. So it's nice to see that too. But he's growing up. He is definitely a young man now. You can definitely see a change between this time last year and this time this year. Definitely a positive change. Not that he was bad then. You can see a difference.
Mm-hmm. And I want to toot my own horn for a second.
Toot your own horn, baby. Toot toot.
But I resisted the urge mm-hmm. in that birthday thing to slip a picture of my truck in there.
I was waiting for it. I really was. I was like, he's gonna put the truck in there. I'm waiting for the truck. No. But no. No, I think, we always say everything happens for a reason. And I really feel like that was a life-defining moment for him.
Not just him, but us too.
Right. I think we all got a wake-up call about what was, just everything in general. And mm-hmm. I think he learned that he had to be way more goal-focused and goal-oriented, and start putting his feet to the ground. Yeah. And can you tell us the truck story?
Maybe next week. This week's not a...
Yeah, let's be happy this week. We'll tell it. Or if you want to know about it, you can message me and I'll tell you all about it. But we're gonna keep it positive because, like I said, we're all the better for it. Mm-hmm. It was a character building time, and that's exactly right. And it was not just for him. It was growing up for all of us. I think we all had to really take a step back and say, okay, things have got to change. You know, we have got to start really thinking about some other stuff. So, you know, I don't think he would have gotten into law enforcement as quickly as he did had he not had that happen. And, I
don't know.
No, I do know, because you got so frustrated with him after it happened that you're like, you're getting a job. You have to get a job. You have to pay for the truck, blah, 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 blah. Gotta get a job. And you're not going to make it flipping burgers. So you need to go look at the blah, 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 blah. And so he went, and, you know, and he immediately fell in love with it. And
I think it was probably the blah, 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 blah that might have really done it.
Probably. I think so. Yeah, that was you need to go get a blah, 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 blah.
You're a dork.
But yeah, so, and then, you know, and what was crazy is, right before the truck, we actually had to make him quit his job. And because it was a bad situation. Stop. I'm going somewhere. Going somewhere with it. But when he got into the jail, he recognized he was in a bad situation. And he took the initiative. No, he took the initiative at that. What I'm saying is there is a growth there, because from the first time we had to recognize and say, you're in a bad situation, get out of it. When he got into that situation the next time, we didn't have to tell him. He knew, and he needed to do something about it, and he did it. Mm-hmm. And so that was where we started to see that he was definitely, he's growing. You know, and it was really cool to see that he is starting to take the initiative to do stuff like that.
But this is not only Blaze's 20th birthday celebration. This is also a celebration for us. We raised a child through the teenage years.
And he's still alive.
He's still alive.
He didn't go to jail.
I'm not bald.
I told him
I'm not in jail.
I'm now officially an old hag because I have a 20-year-old son.
I didn't go to jail. He's still alive.
Mm-hmm. No teen pregnancy. Yes.
No teen pregnancy. And look, here's something else that is highly unlikely nowadays. I didn't have to deal with a teenager with drug issues. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to deal with a teenager with alcohol issues.
Mm-hmm. No hags here.
And so, and it's not like he did not have the opportunities placed in front of him. Mm-hmm. And that's why I keep saying, we just got to do like my dad said. We just got to fall back on what we teach them and watch where the chips fall. Mm-hmm. And just, he knows that if anything ever happens, whoosh, he's always going to have an open door here to come home. And
no, Blaze was homeschooled, so he never had to do any of that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, the best celibacy teaching moment was him having to help us with Carol and Ladessa. He's like, I don't want kids anymore.
That, and look, I'll be 100% honest with you. Homesteading helps. Because, look, when you're homesteading and you have livestock.
Oh, yeah.
They see the animals doing it, and then they see all the little babies.
Yep.
It's a very simple math problem for them. 1 and 1 means
That's exact. And I am a firm believer in that. I mean, if you ever ask me, that is one of those things, like, everybody's like, oh, God, sex education, da, 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 da. And I'm like, just Homestead. I never had to have the sex talk because...
Yeah, we did, with Blaze.
Well, really?
But it was rabbits.
Right, but it wasn't really like that. It was, he came in a panic because the rabbits were fighting.
Daddy, there's... I'll never forget this. I'm telling this story at his wedding. Daddy, the rabbits are fighting. What? The rabbits are in there fighting. What do you mean they're fighting? The one rabbit jumped on the other rabbit's back. And I said, and then what happened? He said, he started doing like this. And then it fell off. I almost peed my pants. And I said, son,
they're not fighting.
And they're not fighting. But in about 3 months, you're going to find out what happened.
Yeah, it was. And really, that's, I mean, when they see that, it is a natural thing, but they know that when they copulate, that soon after, there's gonna be babies. And so that was a very easy way of teaching. And I'll tell you the one, and this is more for girls than it is for boys, but when you're, if you raise chickens and you're dealing with young girls, you can equivocate to some extent a chicken to a female with the egg situation. And so we taught, I was able to explain how that kind of stuff works. Just they do it every day and we do it once a month. And so it's a lot easier to explain. Yes, it's very easy to explain ovulation and all of that stuff to them because they get it. Like, they see the egg. They see that when the egg gets fertilized, that a chick comes out. So they get that. It's very easy to explain to them. And so, and then it's even, and I don't know how many of y'all think about this, but when you have a brand new pullet, the eggs are small and they're not very fertile. And if you have chicks from those babies, or from those pullets, they're not going to make it more than likely. It's the same thing with a young girl. If she starts trying too early and she has a baby, a lot of times that stuff it cannot be good. And then when they get to that prime age and everything's great, perfect time to have chicks, then you get a little too old and then you got problems again. So I always, I need to write a book about the woman and chicken put together. But, more like pushing a watermelon through a quarter. But anyway, so that was an easy conversation for me to have with my daughters, talking about that, because they're with chickens almost every day. So that was another where we didn't really have to have the whole sex talk, because we had that instead. You're not a woman. You can't understand that.
Right. And I don't want to. Your funniest Blaze story. As a parent, what is your funniest story that you either had to walk away from him or send him out of the room?
It's going to be the same one you do. So, he must have been, 10?
No.
Let's see, Ladessa was just born or about to be born.
He might have been 10.
So, yeah, 9, 8, 9.
There
it is. So he was going to school until about the 3rd grade. And he was supposed to be bringing home his progress reports. And he had gotten in trouble on his progress report. He was told that behavior, if you had a conduct grade, your conduct should always be
100.
Outstanding. 100, because that's a given. And apparently he did not get 100 on his conduct.
I don't even remember what he got.
So, and I don't even think it was 100. I think it was like satisfactory, outstanding.
No,
I think it was.
They got.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, so I went to look at his folder, and he had shoved his progress report in the back of his folder. It was a 97. And so I, came back in. I left it in there. So I came back in. I was like, Jason. And he was like, what? I was like, did he tell you that he got his progress report? And he's like, no, he hadn't said anything. It's like, Blaze. And I don't remember, because it was so long ago. And it was just, I just remember the how'd you get there part. But
his book bag was in the kitchen, dining room area. And we said, and you, because he was with Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And so he left his book bag. And so we flipped through it looking for it. And you found it.
Uh-huh.
And so you put it back in there. And so we called him and said, hey, Blaze, didn't progress reports come out today? Yes, sir. But what did he say? He left it at school. I don't
remember all of that. I just remember him being.
He said he couldn't find it because we sent him into the kitchen, and we heard the papers just rustling.
Right. Yeah.
And he come back and handed you the folder, and had this big wad of big bunch of papers in his hand, and and so you were flipping through the folder, and you're like, "Well, where's your progress report, son?" And he's like, "It's not in there." And I was like, well, what's the papers you got in your hand? Oh, this is just art, just some pictures that I drew. And you were like, well, let me see it. And you took the thing from him and you opened it up, and right there was the progress report. And you looked at him and he was like, how did that get in there?
That's the only part I remember. I have physically blocked out the rest of it because I wanted to beat the crap out of him. Because at this point, it was still a 97. But the thing was, the fact that he thought, he was like, how did that get there? And it was because it was one of those moments where you're so mad, you have to laugh. But you don't want to laugh in front of him because you're going to lose all credibility if you do. Mm-hmm. And so it was funny because I was like, he's like, I was also, you were not 7. You were not 7. There's no way. Because I think Ladessa was with us. It was Haney.
Ladessa was. Yeah, it
or
was
Haney.
You might have been Prego.
Pregnant? Maybe 8. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, he was like, how did that get there? I'm like, oh my God. Because what was funny is I knew where it was in the folder. So I'm looking through the folder and I'm looking at him, it's not in here. I'm flipping through it. And Jason's like, what do you have in your hand? And he's like, just some papers.
Just art. Look
at that. It's like, what is this? But Jason immediately, because he saw I was fixing to go after him. And Jason was like, go to your room right now. So he went to his room. Jason closed his door, and we both sat.
No, we ran outside.
We both sat. Well, we had that little, in the other room, and we both sat in there, and we were like, oh my God, what do we do?
We laughed for
10 minutes.
15 minutes.
We were like, oh my gosh, are you serious? How did that get there? That's the best he's got. It was crazy. So Jen says, my parents caught me driving to my boyfriend's house as a teen. We met on the road. I rolled down the window and said, where have y'all been? I've been looking all over for y'all. That's funny.
I have a couple. Blaze, that's
sure
one thing
I have a couple
about
too.
Blaze, he can keep you laughing. He's very witty.
Daily.
Yeah.
Daily, he makes you laugh. Every day.
Yeah. But also at the same point in time, I think mine is just a collaboration of a bunch of them because it was the hardest thing to teach Blaze how to read a room. He would say, they would be absolutely hilarious. but they be completely inappropriate at the time.
First grade, we went in for a parent-teacher conference, and the teacher was like, he spends a lot of time around adults, doesn't he? And we were like, why? It's like, because Blaze is the kind of kid, he'll like walk up to you and be like, hey, you working hard or hardly working? And he was first grade. And like, the teachers were looking at him like, what? and like, another one of my fun stories, when he was in kindergarten, he started reading at the age of like 3, 4. He was reading. And I'm not talking like 3-letter words. I'm talking like 8-letter words. And so I took him to kindergarten in Georgia, and he goes and sits down, and I told the teacher, look, I understand you guys have sight words and things like that, but Blaze can read. And she was like, oh, okay, whatever. So she didn't really pay me much mind. Well, at the end of the day, I come to pick him up, and she's like, oh my God, Blaze can read. And I'm like, told you he could read. And she's like, no, I don't think you understand. She said, I'm sitting down and I'm watching the kids play, reading their books on the carpet, and Blaze is like reading to all the other kids. And I was like, okay. And she's like, but I just thought, you seem like a good mom, so you probably read all these books to him, so he probably has them memorized, because kids do that. They remember the books and how they go. And she's like, so I was curious. I was like, Blaze, come here. She said, so I had him read like something out of my book real quick. She said, and then he started reading my planner. And then he started reading my teacher's manual. She's like, he's 5. I'm like, I told you he could read. And so, so it was always stuff like that with him. My other really funny one, it was a climate change or culture change for us. We have never taught Blaze, we never taught any of our kids color. People are people. It doesn't matter what color you are. And so Blaze gets into kindergarten, and probably 65 to 70% of his class were African American. No problem with that. Blaze doesn't know any different. It's no problem. So he comes home one day and he's telling me a story. And I was like, so which one of your friends was it? And he was like, my brown friend. I'm like, your brown friend? And he's like, yeah, my brown friend. And I was like, what do you mean your brown friend? I was like, oh, your black friend. Because, I mean, that's what we, And so he says that, and I was like, you mean, like, your African-American friend? He's like, Mom, have you looked in a Crayola box? He's not black. He's brown. And I was like, but Blaze, can you just tell me about, like, his hair color? It's brown. What color are his eyes? They're brown. It's my brown friend. I was like, no, we're not talking like that. So then I was like, what's your friend's name? So then we had to kind of go through that conversation and talk about that. And I had a lot of friends that I was like checking with all of my friends, like, do I correct him on that? What do I do? Because again, we never taught that. Like, that was never an issue. And he was just using it very innocently to separate that was his friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do I handle this? Like, what do I do? Do I correct him? Do I not correct him? Like, that's the kind of parents we were. We were always overthinking stuff a lot of times. Like, how do we make sure that we teach him this stuff right? Because we are not the type of people that want to teach any kind of thing
I
like
knew
that.
when Blaze was in the first grade that him and I was going to have issues with Blaze.
Why?
Well, I went to pick him up from school.
Oh, God.
Sitting in my truck. He comes walking up to the truck.
Strutting. First grade, second grade, somewhere around there.
Climbs into my truck, and I used to dip. And so I started popping my dip can. And I just about opened up my can, and he said, you know what we learned in school today? I said, no, buddy, what you learn? He said, we learned about alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. And I said, okay. And I'm reaching in to get a dip. And he says, I have a deal for you.
I know how to save you money.
And I said, and I stopped. I'm like, okay, kid, what's this deal? He said, how much do you spend on that can of tobacco right there? And I said, it's about, then it was like $2, $2.50, something like that. And he said, you pay me half. And I said, well, why will I do that? And he said, because we learned today that the same stuff that's in that tobacco is in my pee. So, you pay me half, and then whenever you want to dip, I can just pee in a bottle, and you can have that. And then he just gave you that kid stare like, what are you going to do with that, big guy? And I dusted my fingers off. I put the lid on the can. I threw the can out the window. And I never touched it. Never touched it again. Yep. But the whole time I was thinking, I was like, I hate this kid.
All the time. Like, that is a perfect example of Blaze, because he's always been like that. Like, and his favorite thing to do now is he'll quote some random fact. He'll be like, did you know that blah, 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 blah? And it'll sound completely believable. And he'll be like, really? Tell me more about it. And he'll, like, elaborate and everything's great. And I'll be like, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe that. He's like, yeah, me neither. And I'm like, what? It's like, I was making it up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill you. And he does that stuff all the time. Things like that. Like, and he knows when you need to laugh, he'll make you laugh. He's just that kind of person. And so he'll do very well in life if he keeps that, that trait. He definitely, and he used to, I think it's a challenge for him sometimes to see how far he can get me to go with something before I'm like, really? Actors, actresses. So, yeah.
Well, guys, if you're friends with him on Facebook, wish him a happy birthday. Wish him a happy birthday in the Big Bear Homesteading group. But it's about time for us to get out of here. Mm-hmm. And next week, we're going to be back on the Q&A. But we wanted to celebrate Blaze's birthday with you guys today. Mm-hmm. And he's out there hanging out with Grandma and Grandpa. That's the reason why he didn't come back in here. Mm-hmm. And I just lost my train of thought.
It's not hard when you get old. It's those 20 years of kid.
But we've succeeded in raising one teenage boy.
Mm-hmm. Now we got two teenage girls. So continue to pray for us. Here he comes. Oh, God.
You gotta be a complete idiot to try to come jumping in here like a superhero on your birthday and fall back out the door. You fell out the door. You jumped in here and then fell out the door. How do you do these things?
Look, he almost died this afternoon. You didn't hear about that.
Oh, please share.
He was up in the attic trying to find all the pictures, and he was bringing down one of the albums, and he almost
I took a heater down the ladder.
Oh, you would have really aggravated me then.
Yeah,
He's been quite agitated. Oh, anyway. Happy birthday, boy. At least not today, tomorrow. Yeah. And not until the end of the day. I tell him he only gets 24 minutes.
Well, according to Blaze, his starts on the day after my Blaze.
It starts March 4th.
March 4th, and it goes till the 24th. So.
Yeah, it goes to, July 20th?
Yeah, he's got a big long stretch until my birthday. So, all right, y'all. We're gonna call it a night and go have some cake, and then we'll see y'all next week. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Grace is not his middle name. No.
No.
It is definitely not.
Neither is tact. Neither is common sense.
I don't know. He's getting better at that one. All right. Well, y'all have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It was nice seeing some of the older faces and the newer faces. And, yeah, stay away from the traps. Just all the traps. Just
okay.
you
Just
don't
all
do
of them.
anything. Yeah. All right.
Look, you know what? That just reminded me of a funny story with you two.
Which one?
When you first decided that you were going to set the Duke number 4 by yourself.
Look at the face.
And we were setting that little beaver pond over there at that old lady's house. Yeah. And I look over and Blaze is all curled up in this weird position. And I come walking around and I'm like, are you alright? Just don't come over here. I'm okay. Don't come over here.
Just don't come over here. I got this. I'm good.
I'm good.
Just keep on rolling.
And I'm like, what do you mean don't come over here, Daddy? Don't. Just please don't. So, of course, now I'm curious.
Right.
And so I walk over there and he's got the trap because he already threw the drowning rod out. Mm-hmm. So the trap is like halfway down the wire. He's kind of all curled up because when he was setting the trap, he slipped and caught his hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
So this big Duke number 4 has a Kung Fu death grip on his hand.
I was, like 13?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it wanted to go ahead and slide down where it was supposed to go, down to the bottom of the pond. And so Blaze is trying to push down on the lever with this hand and trying to bring his foot up to push down on the other lever, and got caught up in some cat and nine tails and was kind of like leaning on a tree trying to figure out how he was going to get out of this
without
me seeing, because he knew I was going to make fun of him. And so I walked over there and I went, I don't even want to know what happened.
Thank you.
Did you?
So,
okay, good story on the way out.
Yep. All right, guys, remember, be kind to one another. You don't know what that person is going through. Could have just lost a family member or a job or something. So be kind to each other out there. And don't believe the hype on your mainstream media. We are not as divided as they want you to believe. Reuse, recycle, repurpose. Keep stuff out of the landfill. And get active in your local community to make them revitalize their downtowns and them old strip malls instead of tearing down forest lands to put up another strip mall that'll be gone in 6 months. So, thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead, and y'all have a wonderful weekend.
Good night, y'all.
Night.